Welcome to Learning to Glow, a show about wellness, skin health, and self-development. I'm your host, Jess. I'm a mom, entrepreneur, and skincare expert. I'm so excited to share tips on how to achieve healthy skin and bring amazing guests in the field of health, fitness, aging gracefully, and personal growth. Let's explore all different ways we can take care of ourselves as women, both inside and out, to truly shine. So let's get glowing. Welcome, everyone. I am really excited about today's episode, and I am excited to share Yvonne Abdi, who is amazing. She's an incredible nutrition coach who has helped over 3,000 clients and has 15 plus years of experience in the world of sustainable fat loss. She shares her own story of dropping over 50% of her body fat and walks us through why sustainable inflammation-reducing fat loss is so much more important than chasing quick fixes on the scale. She is also known as a belly fat expert. We get into everything from how to truly measure progress to why belly fat is more than just a cosmetic issue. She breaks down the science behind macros, why bioavailable protein matter, and how patience and discipline can completely change your body and health over time. Yvonne has been helping me to support my health journey, and I have seen incredible results with her with some very stubborn weight loss and health issues, and I am so excited to share her with all of you today. We also chat about easy ways to stay on track while traveling, the power of a protein-packed breakfast, and some of her favorite supportive supplements like enzymes, probiotics, berberine, and others that we'll share and that I have been taking with some really great results as well. So I'm going to link all of that in the show notes as well. So after you listen to the podcast, if you're interested in anything that we're talking about, make sure to go check out the show notes. I'll have everything linked for you. And, just referencing what we've talked about on the show. So go check that out. If you are working on a fat loss journey, balancing your hormones, or just want to feel your best, this episode, I told her this is like such a gold episode. So much valuable information, so many things that she's taught me over the time that we've worked together. And I'm just so excited to share it with you guys. Make sure to send this to someone that could benefit from it. Send this episode to a friend that could maybe is going through their own journey. There's so many different things that you can take away from this episode. And please do leave us a 5-star review if you haven't yet. I appreciate you all for being here, and I hope you enjoy this one. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show today. And we have Yvonne with us. Welcome, Yvonne, to our show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here. You are a nutrition coach. You do so many things to help men and women with fat loss, and you're an amazing expert. And I know because you are my coach, and you have helped me so much in the last year. So I just want to say, I'm so excited that you're here. I can't wait to show you off to all my listeners because I have learned so much from you. And I know this is going to be amazing for the listeners. So if you could introduce yourself for us, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so my name's Yvonne, and I do nutrition. I've been doing it for over 15 years now, and I've seen over 3,000 clients. The goal is to help people reduce inflammatory fat in the body, which helps us to look better as well. But in the process, we're also helping people not have diabetic issues, heart disease issues, and inflammatory issues in general, as well as to feel their best. So I've been specializing in this for 15 years because I personally needed to lose some body fat. I was skinny fat and I lost 50% body fat when I was in my 30s. And so in the process of learning about it and feeling so comfortable again, I wanted to be able to enhance the lives of other people as well.
I love that. I mean, it's so nice when you have experienced it yourself and you've gone through the transformation. And I think what makes you so different is that you educate your clients as to, this isn't like a quick fix, and this is something that it might take some time depending on where you're at. I think you see all different ages, but do you tend to see more people like midlife and above, or what's your average age?
Oh, wow. It is all over the place. Yesterday, I saw a 14-year-old athlete and she was wanting to enhance her performance, as well as a 60-year-old. Those were my new clients. I had 4 new clients yesterday. 2 were a couple. Sometimes couples will come in, and they were in their about mid 40s. So I would say average is probably about in their people in their 40s where the changes are starting to happen. We're starting to get a little more abdominal fat, and we have 2 layers in the abdominal area that a lot of people don't realize. And as that starts to spread, I teach people how to eat in order to enhance their muscle fibers and to release fat from the abdominal area.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are, if they have extra weight to lose, they're like, I just want to lose the weight.
Yes.
And you really talk about we want to lose fat,
Yeah.
and you emphasize that. You've emphasized that with me too. And that's why the scale isn't always the gold standard for like measurement.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a lot of my clients will go through different transitions. The one client yesterday that was new, his body type is going to be one that he's going to put on the muscle while he's losing the fat. So the scale will not be accurate, and it'll be about a 15-pound shift each way. So we'll lose 15 pounds of fat while gaining 15 pounds of muscle. That's a 30-pound shift under the scale, I mean, under the body, that shows up as 0 on the scale. So it's one of those things that I try to help people see that the scale is not always your best friend through the process while you're losing body fat, because it's more of a net weight versus a total weight of fat loss.
Yeah. And I think maybe we could talk about the expectations now, and I want to talk about how you can determine like what's fat, what's muscle. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but first, when you have people that come to you and they're very eager to lose weight, they're like, okay, let's go, and they maybe don't have the appropriate expectations, or they're so eager that when it doesn't happen overnight, what happens? They give up. So let's talk about that, because my journey, and we can talk about me too, but it has not been fast.
Yes. Absolutely. You're a perfect example of the process. And what happens is we're used to, when we're younger, sometimes losing weight quickly, and it's partial water muscle. Fat loss does happen a little quicker when we're younger as well. So there's a lot of little things that we could do when we're younger that as we get older, it just doesn't work the same way. So we have 100 trillion cells. Each cell needs protein to do its job correctly. And so I teach a lot about the importance of individual proteins. And as we're doing that, we're retaining the muscle, shrinking fat cells. So we can only lose 1.5 to 2% per month. And those variables and those numbers are different per person because we're all like a fingerprint. So when you came in, I was able to explain like, okay, this is how much we're going to lose. It was going to equal about 3 pounds of fat loss a month, which it doesn't sound like a whole lot on the scale, right? When you're working so hard at it, which you did a great job of working so hard at it, and you were able to see some of those changes happening. But when you live with yourself every day, if it's not water and muscle, which is really fast, then it's going to be a lot more gradual, and it's going to take a lot more time. For myself, I lost 50% body fat. It took me 8 months. And so you start to feel a little impatient through the process, but you're really good about staying with the process and visibly seeing the results happens if someone is local, which is nice with the ultrasound machine. So we can actually see it. That helps motivate people as well.
Yeah. Is it a pretty common thing that I mean, give me an idea of with your clients. If they are saying, okay, this is too slow, or do a lot of them say, you know what, I don't care how long it takes. Like, the next day is going to happen anyway. I'm just going to stick with it.
I think everyone starts off with the mindset that I don't care how long it's going to take, because I do prep them. I try to educate and teach like, hey, this is how long it's going to take. We're going to lose 2%. That this is how much it is for your body. And it's anywhere from zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.5 pounds per week. So it's very slow and gradual. But if we're putting muscle on, the scale's not going to move at all. So as I'm educating and teaching, everyone always starts off, for the most part, saying, yes, I'm going to be patient, because patient and discipline are the two things. We need patience and then the discipline to eat, because food, there's an emotional component as well, right? So it's like we're trying to teach through the check-ins. So I do check-ins to help my clients to learn more about the process and how to get out of that all or nothing mindset. But we all lose patience. I mean, we live in a fast-paced society. We can order something on Amazon, it comes in like 4 or 5 hours sometimes, next day for sure. But so what it is I try to educate people that this is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's going to be permanent if we treat it as such, so that it's not just a fad diet, but a way of eating, and teaching them that they can have it all, but they just can't have it all at once. So it's about making the macros fit. It is about macro percentage, which equals calories. People are only counting their calories usually. So I have to teach them about macros. And that's why that first session, it's about an hour to an hour and a half long. And it's just an education, right? I mean, how was it for you? Tell me a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, well, somebody like me, I feel like I know a lot because I've been in this world with my podcast now for like 3 years, and I have so many guests come on and I get so much information, and I've also been a guinea pig for a lot of things. Like I tried so many things, but you told me things that blew my mind because I'm like, how did I not know this? Like you have so many great ways to learn how to build your muscle. Like that was one thing that was really important for me. And little tips, like little nuggets of wisdom that stayed with me like since we first met, and things that I still make part of my routine now. And it is a lifestyle. There's no end date for me. And I think that's what's different with like the diets and like different programs that you see. And that's another thing with, you're talking about fast pace and Amazon and everything. When you're used to the diet world, it is a guaranteed 6 weeks or 2 months or whatever, 30 days, 21 days. And so people are like, wait a minute, 8 months? Like, what? Like, but guess what? That's it. You don't have to go back to starting something new on January 1st because you're giving so many tools. I think that's what makes you so unique, is that there's a way to manage things. And if something's kind of feeling stuck, you help me navigate through that and come up with a game plan. And it is experimentation because, sometimes your body, like I've had some stubborn stuff that's been going on. I want to ask you about that too, because you've talked about inflammatory fat and like maybe like stubborn fat. Talk to us a little bit more about that. What is that in the body and why is that like more challenging to get rid of?
The reason, so first, what it is in the abdominal area and sometimes in the hip area for women, sometimes in the lower part of the pecs for men, is where there's this excess fat layer related to diet. And what happens is in the abdominal area, it starts to split. So it's fat is an acronym for fatty adipose tissue, and SAT is by the belly button. It's the surface adipose tissue. And then there's what's called DAT, and it sits right below the SAT, and it starts to spread. And so when that happens in certain areas like the abdominal, sometimes in the hips for women, sometimes in the pecs, sometimes in the back of the arm for some ladies, when that starts to happen, the SAT and DAT is what really gives it away in the stomach area, because it's that spread allows me to see that we are no longer absorbing. Processed foods are really hard on the body at this point. Sugars are totally different, working differently for the body. So we have to change the macros to accommodate the ability for the body to absorb the carbs with the proteins, or absorb these macros. There's only three macros that equal calories. It's carbs, fats, protein, and that equals calories. And so once you start to learn how to utilize the macros differently, especially the protein, right? We don't crave protein. Ghrelin is something that makes us feel hungry, and we shut it down with protein. And women have double the body fat than men, so our body is predisposed to keep that fat on us. It doesn't care that we're no longer going to have babies and that we don't want it on our body. So we have to work with our bodies to add a good amount of what's called bioavailable proteins to help reduce what's called stubborn fat. And it happens to everyone as we get older, but sometimes genetically it happens to some people more than others. And so when sugars and processed carbs are no longer working the same way, we have to make sure that we accommodate by adding protein with the carbs so that the body can assimilate it and pull it into the muscle versus storing it as fat. So it's kind of a process to learn. But stubborn fat is something that happens as we get older, primarily due to our diet. And the foods out there are pretty gnarly as far as the processed foods. And sometimes we think we're eating something healthy, and even healthy foods can cause it. So
Mm.
I have one client, and just all these nuts, the diet was too high in fat, and all these fruits, which was too high in sugar, was causing his triglycerides and his LDL and other factors to go up. And he had no clue that, nuts are high in fat, but low in protein. And so we got to get some protein synthesis happening or some protein going into the diet throughout the day because you have 100 trillion cells and each cell needs protein to do its job correctly.
That's a real interesting point. A lot of people think they're being so healthy, and they are healthy foods, but like when you overdo anything, like it's going to cause some problems. I bet a lot of people, just because I feel like all the magazines when I was growing up, they were like, if you want some extra protein, have a handful of almonds. Like, but when you really look at how many grams of protein are in an almond, you're like, that's not high in protein at all. But like we think of like those magazines and those articles that kind of highlight nuts and different things like that as being so high in protein, and nut butters and like things like that, but that's not the best source. And I was wondering if you could give us some examples of what you mentioned, which was bioavailable proteins, and ways that we can get those more into our diet, which is so important for our cells.
Yes. So it's really interesting because there's an alkaline chart. I wrote a book called Burn Fat, Not Your Food. It's available on Amazon as an ebook. And so what happens is there's a chart in there that shows you the bioavailable proteins, and the three highest is going to be a whey isolate if you're going to take a protein powder. There's a lot of whey concentrate out there. And then there's egg whites, and then there's fish. Those are very available to the cells. The body will process and utilize it within a day to a day and a half. So the cells utilizing that type of protein makes a difference. Whereas then you have more of your like processed meat, something like that's in a can, like canned tuna. I used to think that was so healthy for you, but I've learned that, it's dehydrated, it's denatured, and that also makes it harder for the body after the age of 40 to just assimilate and take in that protein. So we want to be careful about the protein quality types. Lunch meats, they're super processed as well. So we want to be careful with sausage, lunch meats, and hot dogs, all of that. But even something as lean as like lean beef, if someone has like 93% lean beef, they're very surprised. They automatically assume it's only 7% fat, but it's actually 40% fat. If you do the 97% lean beef, I automatically used to think, well, that means that it's, all lean, but it's actually 30% still fat. So we have to accommodate and take into consideration the whole macronutrient percentages, which is what I do on the first visit. And it's why the first visit is so long. I've talked to other like nutritionists, dietitians, and asked them like, why aren't you guys teaching this? And the biggest thing is it takes too much time. But with that empowerment, my goal is that people get to move on and be able to practice this for life.
Yeah, I think if you get that information and those tools, then you know what to look for, and you can set your clients free to
Yes.
do manage it on their own. And I just think it's so important to have that education, because we're not taught this. I didn't know any of that. I actually was so anti egg white for a really long time, because I was like, no, I don't like egg whites. I actually like the taste, but I was just told like you shouldn't eat egg whites, just eat the egg. But then realizing how much more protein and knowing that it's so bioavailable to our body, that's amazing.
Yes. So I used to grab my egg carton and see the 6 grams of protein and the 5 grams of fat. And naturally, I would assume, since it says a higher number for the grams of protein, that I'd grab my egg whites, put it in the cart, and then just be excited that I'm getting my protein. So that's why I like to use the free app called MyFitnessPal to educate people. But people can learn on there that the calories and the percentages, it's always 100% will equal calories. So it jumps to 63% for fat. And that just blew my mind. So it is one of the things that I tried to teach. And I'm sure it was the same for yourself as well.
Yeah. And now I have one egg, but I add a bunch of egg whites.
Yes.
And then you can eat so much more that way too.
Yes. And in Chinese medicine, egg whites tend to be a little phlegmy. So they say to add like half a yolk or one yolk to it. And
Mhm.
that allows you to assimilate it a little bit better. So adding a little bit is great. Although if I'm traveling, I just order an egg white omelet and
Yeah.
enjoyed some cheese because I made room for it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. Do you have any tips for travel? I know a lot of people are going to be traveling, this time of year, and I have a trip coming up. What do you tell your clients when they're going on a trip?
It's protein's expensive, and so you're not going to find it very easily. A majority of stuff that is going to be presented to you, even at your dinner table, they throw bread, chips. It's cheap. Here you go. Have some of this. When that's presented constantly, I do. If I'm going through an airport, I find like a Caesar salad. I find some type of salad with chicken, and I grab it as even if I'm sitting in first class. I recently had to go to a funeral and I was sitting in first class and they presented me the only thing available was something was vegetarian and then chicken enchilada. So I said, okay, I'll take that. There was no chicken. There was literally like no chicken. And my husband and I were like shocked. So I tell people, even if you have like a guaranteed, dish coming on the airplane, just be prepared. And so I now have traveling bottles where I keep, it's mainly used for formula, baby formula, but I keep protein powder. I take an empty shaker bottle so that I could get water easier too, because when you're traveling, you do want to make sure that you're getting a hold of some water. So that makes it easy to just to shake some protein to go. I do pack some Quest chips because that's easy. Some people like the Bear Bells, which is a protein bar. So having some stuff with you makes it easier. I do have several clients that travel for work
Mhm.
and they just will find a grocery store that's local to where they're staying and go get some plain Greek yogurt and some cottage cheese and bring it to their hotel. And so I thought that was a great little tip as well. Sometimes looking at the menu ahead of time of different places that you'll be eating out and looking for your protein first for your meal, right? Am I going to have chicken or am I going to have fish? And just kind of planning accordingly as well.
I want to ask you, I love that tip. You had mentioned protein synthesis, and you have taught me like how we start our day and like how that sets us up for the rest of the day is so important. We've talked about breakfast a lot on my show. I never used to eat breakfast, but now I do. And I think it'd be helpful if you could share why is it important to start the day with protein, like a protein heavy meal or protein rich, and how does that affect us throughout the whole day?
Okay. Yeah. So what happens is breakfast is breaking your fast, right? So that's why it's called breakfast. And as you break that fast, the best thing you can do is put protein into the diet, right? So, whatever you're eating has to incorporate protein. I do have some people that are really adamant about staying in their fast. So some people don't realize that if you do coffee, that doesn't break a fast. The hydrolyzed whey isolate doesn't either. So you can create like a coffee latte and enjoy that while staying in somewhat of a fast, but also getting your fat burning going, right? Because the metabolism can shut down very easily. So we're trying to rev it up. And since every cell needs protein and we have 100 trillion cells to feed, by doing that, we actually get everything going. It's kind of like helping your body to function at an optimal level through what we eat and starting that fat burn first thing in the morning with protein synthesis.
Okay. I love the tip for bringing your protein with you when you're on like a trip or traveling. I'm going to be doing that with my trip that's coming up and putting the protein in the coffee. The first day. You told me about that when we first met, and I've been doing it ever since every day. Like every time I've gone anywhere, I take my protein. It's so great because you don't need sweetener, you don't need milk or cream because that's what the protein, it makes it tasty and creamy. So I just think it's great. And it's so easy for me to start my day that way because there's an immediate 30 grams of protein for me. And I don't have to like start my day with a big old breakfast if I'm not feeling like that. I can still feel good about I've had 30 grams of protein. It
Yeah.
makes a huge difference. And also, I don't love what I was doing before. I was drinking coffee on an empty stomach.
Okay.
And this just makes that
Yeah.
better. Like it doesn't make me jittery. It just helps with so many things.
Absolutely. And a lot of my clients, like yesterday, they were so nervous to incorporate a protein powder because I would say 98% of them are just bad for you.
Yeah.
Got GMO oils, they've got sucralose, chemical sweeteners, milk fillers, or fillers for protein. So, because they're so bad for you, we are at a loss of knowing what is a good quality protein and where can I get a clean protein. So, I had to try different proteins. Some of them were healthy, but they tasted horrible. So, I finally found this one, the one that you're incorporating that's available on my website. And it's awesome because one scoop is 30 grams. It's like a chicken breast. So first thing in the morning, I don't feel like eating a chicken breast.
Yeah.
I feel like eating 10 egg whites, but I can easily put in a scoop in my coffee and set myself up for the day.
Yeah, it's such a hack. And I feel like you're so right. There was a long time that I was like, I'm just not going to have protein powder because I don't want that junk. And
Yes.
I'd rather just figure it out another way. And now that I have that, it's such a great way to supplement because my protein goal is high. Like I kind of need it to get in my protein. It just makes it so much easier to just start the day that way. And even if I'm really low or I'm really, really busy, I can just have another one in the afternoon and I make a little smoothie out of it.
Yes, and you don't have to worry about the protein because it's so good for you. Whereas for some people, if they're doing one or two scoops, and some of my guys need more because they have
Yeah.
to double the muscle, and I find out that they've been putting sucralose in their body with GMO oils and a cheap protein, we got to switch that out, right? Because
Yeah.
then now it's clean and the body can utilize it correctly.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. So I think another thing that has been helpful on my journey with you is we do supplements. And I want to talk about supplements because I feel like there are supplements out there that really help with this whole process of fat loss. And really, my goal wasn't just fat loss. Like, I want to be healthier. I want to feel better. There's health issues that I've had chronically that I've shared about on the podcast. And there's no worse feeling than not feeling good
Yeah.
and consistently. And so I'd love to talk about some of your favorite supplements and things that we can do and implement that will help the process of fat loss and just overall health.
Yes, absolutely. First of all, the quality of the supplements is very important. The more you know about the supplement companies, you're going to find that a lot of them are not as good quality. So you want to get with a company that uses a spectrometer to measure the quality. So, and it has third party testing. So Nature Sunshine is a company that I really respect because they'll let you know, hey, this didn't pass. We're not going to be able to offer it. This is matching the quality, so we're getting the product and we're assured of the quality of the product. So Nature Sunshine is a great company. And then as far as the actual supplements, I would say if you were to just take one supplement, it would have to be enzymes because it helps break down your food so that way you're getting the nutrients. So some people want to take a multivitamin, which is great, but if you're not getting enzymes, then the problem is you're not breaking down your food correctly, and those minerals and vitamins and nutrients are not being absorbed, which can lead to disease,
Mm.
right? So the brain and the gut are so connected. We really want to make sure we're getting enzymes, and Nature Sunshine offers multiple different enzymes. If we have a higher based protein type diet, I like people to take a proactozyme or a food enzyme, which breaks down all of our foods, along with protein enzyme to help break down their protein so that every cell gets what it needs. So those are my two basics that I really put people on. Of course, we also have a gut war going on. And the
Mhm.
gut war is like we're in charge of our body and the war going on. So we want to give it some good army men, and that's our probiotics, right? And the beautiful thing about Nature Sunshine is they have an 11 strain one that helps do multiple functionalities for our body. So probiotics, I do want people to get the probiotics in. And then if people go, well, I'm dealing with belly fat. We have so many people on on GLP-1s right now, and it's
Mhm.
becoming such a huge trend with some really gnarly side effects, including shutting down the digestive system and creating bacteria. Food is just not digesting the same. It rots in the intestines sometime. So what's nice is we have a really good quality product called berberine, and it gets rid of the gnarly side. It doesn't have gnarly side effects, but it gets rid of the hunger feeling that people get. So they say my cravings go down. It also helps with getting rid of the bacteria that's bad for you in the gut. It kind of cleans your intestinal tract, and it does a host of other things as well. So berberine tends to be a big seller because of all the things that it does naturally for your body, as well as for your glucose level and belly fat loss.
I know they say berberine is nature's Ozempic,
Yes.
is what I've heard.
Yes.
So of course I bought it.
Yes.
So I've been on berberine for several months now. And one thing that I've been educated on and I am mindful of, and with your help as well, is like our blood sugar.
Yeah.
And I know that berberine is really helpful when it comes to that. Do you have any other tips for blood sugar? Because
Yes.
that's kind of a hot topic right now.
Well, I had a lot of belly fat before. Now I had 30 millimeters of belly fat. Now it's 5. So
Wow.
how did I release all that? Some people go, oh, you can't release fat in the belly. I'm known as a belly fat specialist. Word of mouth referrals just keep happening for me because people keep losing in their belly. But
Yeah.
I educate on that. And so sugar is related to that. Fruit on an empty stomach is no longer serving myself. And you fell in that same category, right?
Mhm.
So we can still have the fruit, we can fit it in, but it's not serving us if it's sugar on its own. The reason why is the endocrine system, which regulates our hormones, our thyroid, it regulates all these functionalities, is also related to sugar. If it's no longer, sorry, I'm a little bit thirsty, working the same way, it stores as belly fat.
Yeah. So that's a really good thing to notice because when I first started, I was, another thing that I love about you is you don't overwhelm people. I wasn't like, oh gosh, I have to do a million things. The first month I was focusing on a couple things. And then the next time I met you, you're like, okay, let's take a look at this. And one of the things that we looked at, not right away, but later was my sugar. And I was like, wow, there was something that I ate. I can't remember. And you showed me how many grams of sugar. And I was like, wow. It's interesting to start paying attention to these things. And then, like, when you do feel stuck, you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe it's because sugar is like it's such an interesting one. I don't eat a lot of desserts. So I'm like, I'm good. But there are many ways to get sugar, even if it's in a natural form. And that could be setting you back with your belly fat.
Absolutely. I had one client, and the reason I have you guys log and I'm able to see it at a distance is I'm able to guide you. The check-ins are more valuable than even the first visit, right? Because it's where we get into the nitty-gritty, the details of what's causing certain issues to happen. And I had one girl, she had an ice cream bar, and she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I had this ice cream bar." And then she had 4 tablespoons of pomegranate earlier that had like 40 grams of sugar, whereas the ice cream bar only had 20. So I had to explain to her that you did more damage by having the 4 tablespoons of pomegranate. Was it worth it? And she goes, no, I only do it to be healthy. And so we started honing in and getting rid of a lot of the little misconceptions of what was healthy because she did have belly fat. And so she was ready to reduce that. And some of the things that we think we're doing, you're absolutely right. It's not working.
Yeah.
So we have to watch our sugars.
The pomegranate surprised me because I assumed pomegranates were low sugar like blueberries or strawberries, like for some reason in my head. And I was like, wow, there is quite a few. And I think they're so good for you. So yeah, like, but maybe not 4 tablespoons at one time.
Yes.
So like we can still do things, but if we are trying to work on something, it's like I love the tweaking because what I ate back when I first met you is very similar to what I eat now. It's just kind of tweaked
Yes.
and my levels are different. And so that goes so far and you don't feel like it's not as overwhelming when you think, okay, I don't have to revamp everything in my life. We're just making changes that are going to make such a big impact and you're going to see such a big difference.
Yes, absolutely. That's beautiful and well said. It's like the expression, you can have it all, just not all at once, is something that I try to hone in and create lifestyle, right? So sometimes we'll say, oh, I can't have that anymore. And I have to pull people away from that thinking as well and say, no, you still can. But like you said, you want to make sure that it's in the right doses and
Yeah.
it fits your macros.
Yeah. So when you, and I think another thing that's very unique about when I came to see you is you don't just like measure and put me on a scale, but you also do a scan. So can you talk about that and like why that is so helpful when you're working with your clients?
So I do have clients that are long distance, and when I work with clients that are long distance, we have to go off of pictures and we go off of measurements. So we use a measuring tape, and then we do circumference, especially around the abdominal, the hips, and so the beautiful thing for those that are local is we can use the ultrasound, which actually visibly fat sits between skin and muscle. We can see the muscle quality, we can measure muscle growth, and we could see, literally see the fat cells shrinking. We can put them side by side. I especially love, Jessica, when we do your first one to the latest one, right? Because then we really see the differences. But each time it's a gradual process, and I show you, which actually helps you see the new muscle fibers that are coming in. And then it helps you see the fat loss happening as well. So the ultrasound is very, very specific for your body fat percentage. And body fat percentage is really important when it comes to body composition because women need to be between 15 to 24% to be in that healthy range of body fat. And that's for survival. We need a certain amount of fat. Men need 10 to 18%. So women need more body fat. And so we were able to know exactly how much muscle is gained and how much fat is being lost every time you come in, as well as see it, right? I mean, there's visually seeing it is the most motivating thing.
Yeah.
It changed my life. So I know it really works beautifully for other people as well.
Yeah, and you're so supportive. Like if you're coming in and you're disappointed that you haven't got to a goal that you want to, you're so supportive and you talk about a lot of things because there are so many factors in the journey. Like I have different issues. My hormones went crazy during the time that we started working together and that affected my progress. And it's easy to be like, forget it, I give up because I'm not quite at my goal, but I'm so much closer than I was when I first started.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we will get you there. You will get there. And every time you come in, we're seeing results, which is so beautiful. And I just love that, that you have the patience, right? Because it's discipline and patience. We need both.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. Like, I think that's why when you talk about mindset, the mindset part and the emotional part, that's another reason that having someone like you is so important to help you with that perspective and to cheer you on because it's hard, it's like we are having to change how we live and the things that we are used to, but oh, it's so worth it. So I absolutely love you. I'm so excited that you could come and share with everybody. And I'd love to, if you could tell us like your website. I really recommend the protein that you sell. It's really great. And then I want to also let everybody know that I will put the link to the supplements that you talk about that I love in the show notes. So you can just go and click. And I am on all of the ones that you recommended and more. I really love the ones for hormones. Can you just talk about those really quick before we go? The ones that I'm on that really help with women's hormones.
Are you, which ones are, there's so many.
Oh
What
yeah.
did we put you on? Which
Oh
ones
my
were
gosh, what was the name? It's like DEH?
DHEA?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a blend with a DHEA, and I love that one. It helps regulate and enhance your natural testosterone levels because they tend to deplete a little bit. So we want that boost. DHEA helps the endocrine system as well, and helps. Oh gosh, it just everything gets a little bit more regulated in the system with the women's DHEA. There's so many different ones for the women's blends. So when it comes to different components, I don't know exactly why we had put you on that one. That's the one
Mhm.
I take as well. I took
Yeah.
it because I did need a little more testosterone and I wanted to get it in a more natural form. So that makes it easier. Sometimes if you're getting something synthetic, you can lose a lot of hair. You can
Mm.
have some issues, obviously hair growth in weird places for some people. And so voice changes and so forth. So it's nice to have a natural blend. There's also some other ones that can help with your progesterone and estrogen as well.
And the other one that I just bought that I am so excited, I can't believe I haven't been on it before, is the fish oils.
Oh,
And
yes.
especially as a skin person, that is so important for our skin and so many other things. So, yeah, do you take that one as well, the fish
I
oil?
do. I do. I'm going on 50 years old. So we have a hereditary factor for LDL or cholesterol.
Oh, right.
So I take it as a therapeutic dose in order to prevent myself from having to get on a statin. And so it's nice to be able to take it. It's also our brain sits in over 60% oil. So it's nice because it helps us with cognitive functions as well. And it's great for reducing cellulite because it
Yeah.
emulsifies fat. So it's fish oil helps you burn fat. So it does multiple different functions. And so I love taking the fish oil. It's
I
absolutely,
cannot believe I have not been taking that.
yes.
It's so funny. Every time I talk about fish oil, I think of my grandmother, who she lived to be in her 90s, perfect. Like she had no wrinkles and she was there mentally. Her brain was great till the end. And did cod liver oil every day, like her whole life. That was big when she was younger.
Yes.
And she would tell me, like, I remember the last time I saw her, she was like, you just take it. Like that's such an important one. And I go through phases, but I realize how important that is for so many different things. And because also as we age, our cholesterol goes up. You taught me that, like your cholesterol will go up. So just naturally. So it's like another reason why that is such an important supplement. And we're just, unless how much fish can you eat to actually get that amount that you get in the supplement?
Yes, and it feeds the brain so beautiful. So the neuroscience for Alzheimer's is showing that fish oil is a huge preventative.
Mm.
There's this huge there's a lot of studies coming up with brain heart connection, right? So it clears the heart, it helps our brain as well. So I love it. And it would take for 1,000 milligrams, it would take 3 pieces of salmon. And if people are taking therapeutic doses, they need anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 milligrams, which would be
Wow.
too hard to get in the diet. But who wants to eat 6 pieces of salmon a day?
It's
That would
impossible.
yeah, so supplements have their purpose. I do really good with the B12. It's a beautiful blend and also a B complex because starting the day with that gives me an energy flow for the rest of the day. And I had seen a naturopath, and she had showed me that my red blood cells were ghosting or like breaking off, like dying off pretty quickly. So she had put me on that, and that was something that I can't. I eat so clean. I eat really well, but sometimes the supplements really do help us to build our immune system, to get rid of bloat, and to feel our best.
Yeah, it's just impossible to get everything we need in diet. Like when there's just if you want to have that optimal health, like it's hard and then our soil's depleted and you have to go. That's another reason why the enzymes are so important. So I just feel really a lot better since taking them and I am so excited and that you've really like cemented me like in my brain that I need fish oil because Alzheimer's was in my family. I'm just like, it's such a great thing to be taking. So I'm definitely going to be excited to start that. But tell us your website and then I'll link all of this and your book too. I'll definitely link that in the show notes as well.
Okay, you can also get the book through the website, but
Okay.
it's Nurture Through Nature, and it's just how it's correctly spelled, NURTURE through THROUGH nature.com. So it's nurturethroughnature.com, and there you can find my packages. You can also find the protein powder and the ebook.
That's great. And you work virtually. So if somebody's not in Southern California and they want to work with you, that's possible too. So thank you, Yvonne, for sharing. This has been gold information. So I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. And you are an A+ student. That's so
Thank you.
phenomenal.
Thank you. I've loved it. I've loved working with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe and review so we can reach more people who want to learn to glow alongside us. See you next time.